welcome to Reed's Reads. Of course, I'm your host, Ryan Reed. Please check us out at the Spider-Man Crawlspace at thespidermancrawlspace.com. So I'm here to review 3 books. Of course, Amazing Spider-Man number 2, Amazing X-Men number 7, which is a reunion of the Spider-Friends, and Spider-Man versus the Myth Monster, which is actually from the early 90s. So let's get into Amazing Spider-Man number 2, first of all. First of the pros, this actually is a much stronger issue than issue 1, and I kind of wish this is how issue 1 would have kicked off for Amazing Spider-Man. The artwork's actually great by Humberto Ramos. I think it's one of his best issues he's drawn in quite some time, and I actually love the interaction with Anna Marie. It's actually handled in a very logical way and everything, and I actually enjoyed her interaction with Peter Parker and everything and what she's going to do trying to help him through Parker Industries. I also like the motivation. Electro actually has a general problem here, considering what Dr. Octopus did to Maxwell during the Superior Spider-Man team-up issues where his powers were alternated, as well as the rest of the members from the Sinister Six there. So we all know these villains are going to have plenty of beef now against Spider-Man again. And it's really good, and I actually like some of the subplots that are working their way through. But going to the cons, the whole little I'm pregnant situation by Anne Marie was just out of place. If she is so smart as she is, that had no place in the whole issue. Not to mention everything with Black Cat. This is just such character assassination for her, how she's gone like that, especially keeping her powers, and it proves that she has control over them now. So I hated that. New costume's okay, but it's just bad and everything else, and I'm not going there. So to sum it up, B for this whole issue, enjoyable, but it's got a lot of problems here. But I'm looking forward to issue 3, as well as a subplot with Silk for Original Sin. Moving on to Amazing X-Men number 7, the reunion of the Spider-Man friend. This is a great issue. Pros right off. The voices are nailed by Catherine Hyman. She gets all the characters. It's like a modern-day telling of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon. It's just great. The artwork is fantastic. I love the little story of them trying to go out and getting caught up in this little alien plot that Spider-Man got caught into. The jokes are hilarious, and just the relationships between all 3 characters is great. And, there's nothing I can really say. The only con is the whole, keeping with the subplot of what's with the alien baby and the whole situation why Spider-Man's like, oh, I can't tell you right now. Gotta wait. That's the classic, well, we can't finish the story too fast because that's will ruin it if we tell you exactly why this alien baby happened and everything. But it's an enjoyable story, and it gets an A- from me. I really enjoyed it. Going on to a more serious note with Spider-Man Battles the Myth Monster, which was written in the early 90s by Danny Figueroa and Salvador Roca, which was actually through the Nurses Foundation. The story's pretty simple. Basically, a creature known as the Myth Monster, which spreads lies and feeds off his powers during the days of King Arthur. Well, he was instilling fear in the people, and King Arthur and Merlin imprisoned him in an amulet that centuries later found itself into a high school that Peter Parker was taking pictures of for a state championship. And the Myth Monster gets loose, spreading lies about diabetes, epilepsy, and so forth to these young kids that don't understand it or are fearful of these diseases which they don't understand. And Spider-Man, of course, uncovers it, and what defeats him is the truth about exactly what these conditions are, and that, as they say, knowledge is power. And it's actually a very enjoyable story. It holds more meaning to me since my wife has epilepsy, and when this book was reprinted in both 93 and 98, it was founded by the Epilepsy Foundation, which is kind of used. There's not many issues in circulation right now. So Spider-Man Battles the Myth Monster is a great story. It's definitely a one to grow on story from the early 90s, but it's very enjoyable. So it gets an A from me. And with that said, I apologize for the delays and everything else, because unfortunately there was just some health issues going on in the family that couldn't be avoided, and some other commitments. It is the end of the school year for me, so I have more commitments here right now. But I'm going to leave it on that note. I'll see everybody else later on for Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales number 2, as well as my upcoming Spider-Verse and Villains Profile. So catch you all later, and check us out at thespidermancrawlspace.com.